two updates for you from Tigray. Firstly, international community is working towards enforcement of humanitarian ceasefire in Tigray. What is humanitarian ceasefire? Secondly, we have heard some reports about fighting in central and northwestern Tigray. How credible are these reports? Firstly, viewers, yesterday we saw two statements, one from France and the other from Germany. Both the countries called for enforcement of humanitarian ceasefire in Tigray. If you have been following armed conflicts or wars, you know this term, viewers, humanitarian ceasefire. Ceasefire on humanitarian grounds is implemented when civilians need to be evacuated, when dead bodies need to be evacuated. So parties to the conflict, they hold their fire, and this is called humanitarian ceasefire. Sometimes it's the first step towards the full-scale ceasefire. Here again it seems that the West, the US, they are now working towards the enforcement of ceasefire on humanitarian grounds. We heard a press conference by World Food Program yesterday. It was WFP representative yesterday said that more than 90% of Tigray's population was in need of urgent humanitarian assistance. More than 5 million people are in dire need of aid, viewers. And after this press conference, we saw statements issued from several quarters for ceasefire on humanitarian grounds. Now, the US, France, Germany, they are calling for ceasefire on humanitarian grounds so that aid could be delivered to people in need, especially in rural areas of Tigray. Jeffrey Feltman is visiting Middle East. He is due to visit Kenya as well. And in the coming days, we could see more calls for humanitarian ceasefire in Tigray. Can this strategy work, humanitarian ceasefire strategy works? Firstly, the Ethiopian government says that there is no fighting in Tigray. So when there is no fighting, there is no question of any ceasefire. And we have seen that Tigray Defense Forces, they have not updated us in the past few days about ongoing fighting in Tigray. I have been saying that for several days that TPLF should ensure real-time coverage of Tigray war. Pictures, footages, statements, they are necessary. Otherwise, Ethiopian government will say that the war in Tigray is over. No question of any ceasefire. I'll show you a clip of WFP spokesperson talking about millions of people in need in Tigray. Before that, viewers, we heard some reports about fighting in Tigray yesterday. Unconfirmed reports. Again, viewers, I'm saying unconfirmed reports. We haven't heard any official statement from ENDF or TDF. Because ENDF don't issue statements, EDF don't issue statements about fighting in Tigray. TDF have been silent over the past few weeks. These reports are being shared by some Tigray-backed sources. And they are claiming that fighting is underway in some areas which are neither Edith, Asgade, Simbala views. Neither is in central Tigray, and we know views that fighting has been going on near neither over the past 2 months, because when Eritrean forces launched an offensive from B30 highway towards central Tigray, neither was one of the targets of this offensive. So we have seen fighting here. It's not surprising. But the second place is Asgade, which is in northwestern Tigray. It is situated to the west of the road which connects Endabagna with Shire, viewers. So it's in northwestern Tigray, and if fighting is underway in Asgade, it means fighting is spreading to the west of central Tigray. But again, viewers, I'm saying these are unconfirmed reports. If heavy fighting is underway in neither Adit, Asgade, Simla, Tigray defense spokespersons must speak about it, because only statements of TDF-backed sources are not enough, viewers. TDF must give their official position about ongoing fighting in Tigray. Otherwise, as I said earlier, Ethiopian government will keep on saying that war in Tigray is over, no need of any ceasefire, no need of any humanitarian ceasefire, viewers. So we might hear Colonel Gabre of TDF in the coming hours about ongoing fighting in Central Tigray. But lastly, viewers, at least we have confirmed now that TDF only talks of fighting when there is fighting. So now when fighting has to some extent, when its intensity has decreased, we have seen no statements from TDF. It means their earlier statements about fighting in Tigray, they were based on facts. And when they were saying that Eritrean forces had launched offensive towards central Tigray, it means those statements of Colonel Gabre, they were credible reporting, they were not just exaggerations. But now when heavy fighting is being reported in these areas, no statement from Colonel Gabriel. Let's see if he'll speak in the coming hours or not. Now watch a clip of WFP spokesperson talking about dire humanitarian crisis in Tigray. Thank you for watching.
A total of 5.2 million people, equivalent to 91% of Tigray's population, need emergency food assistance due to conflict. We are deeply concerned at the number of people we see in need of nutrition support and emergency food assistance. Conflict has indeed interrupted or delayed some food distributions. WFP is working closely with partners, with local leaders and communities to improve access and deliver the life-saving food and nutrition support to end growing hunger in Tigray. Insecurity is challenging the ability of most emergency responders to reach people who are in need. A ceasefire and unimpeded access are vital, not only for WFP, but also for all its partners in Tigray to reach all areas and all people who are desperately in need of life-saving support. Access, especially in rural areas, remains the primary challenge, and almost a quarter of all children who were screened were found to be malnourished.